So good morning. I am here in North Carolina where it is hot this morning, as I'm sure if you're in the South or anywhere in the South, it's hot. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to How to Become a Confident Leader Masterclass, specifically for Black women. In today's masterclass, I really want to provide you with 3 steps that will help you take action when it comes to showing up as a leader in your workplace and how to become confident in doing so and being consistent about that. So before I jump into that, I do want to give just a little bit of background about myself. I am the corporate navigation coach. So what that means is that I help Black women in particular navigate corporate America, specifically from a day-to-day. So that includes really everything in the process. But I think that when we think about career coaching, we think about the front end of the process, right? We think about someone who can help with our resume, someone who can help with the interview process. But that's really only the beginning of the process when it comes to managing your career. And it's kind of like a relationship, right? Like that front end piece is the dating and the courting, and then maybe it's the getting married. But then once you got married, it's all the things that come with post marriage, right? And that's what it's like once you accept that offer for a job. And what I found, at least from my own experience, and then in working with my clients, is that the experience that we're having as Black women has been somewhat difficult, a lot because no one gave us the playbook in advance. So we're at an unfair advantage. We're getting blindsided in the workplace. And to some extent, it's impacting our confidence, our ability to show up, and things like that. So that is a little bit about what I do. I have spent the last 20 years, probably dating myself, in a corporate environment in multiple industries, from retail to manufacturing to banking. I have a risk management and supply chain project management background. I'm also a certified project manager, a certified coach, a certified also in the DEI space. So that's a little bit about me. And the reason why I created this company, this business, was really based on my own personal corporate experience. Back in about 2015, I got a new boss, and let's just say he wasn't my favorite boss. We'll say that he was my least favorite boss. And while there were lessons to be learned, what I realized is that when I reached out, like when I went to the marketplace to look for someone who could help me navigate again what I was experiencing, what was going on at work, I couldn't find anyone. So back in those days, there might have been like an executive coach, right? So they dealt with kind of top of house. So if he wasn't an executive, there was no help. And I couldn't find a Black woman who understood my experience, who could help me navigate the corporate space. And so once I got through where I was and I kind of figured out what was going on and was able to move on, I opened up Envision Greatness Coaching, which is the actual name of my company. And I started to coach Black women as far back as probably 2018. All right. So feel free as we go through this process. I want to keep this somewhat casual. You guys spend all week in meetings, so I don't want it to feel like yet another meeting. Feel free to ask me questions in the Q&A box. You can type there as we go along. I'm happy to answer them. If you have information, or if you have questions or want more information about the context of what I'm telling you. All right, so everybody got pencil and paper? All right. So let's get started with how to become a confident leader, step 1. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to go out and make the time to meet people. Now, I know that when I tell you that, you're like, you might even be like, okay, but I already knew that. And that's fine. But let's talk about why. Let's talk about why you want to do it and how it impacts your ability to lead. As Black women, a lot of us say, and this is something that if you listen to my podcast, I have a whole podcast on, we don't like people. But I want you to know, sis, that that's not true. Black women are the mother of people. It's not possible for you to not like them. Instead, what we've done is use it as a way to protect ourselves from people because of our experience, because no one has really given us the tools, especially in corporate America, to equip us with what is happening in the workplace. And so that's what I do a lot inside of my legendary leadership method, right? I want to be able to equip Black women with how to deal with the people, because that's in the middle or standing in the way of us getting to know the people, for the people getting to know us, right? So the first thing that you have to do, I know you might not want to, I know that you probably already know that you need to, is make the time. Yes, make the time, because you're going to say also that I have too much on my calendar. Whatever's on your calendar is not as important as going out and meeting people. Going out and meeting people is the catalyst for everything else on your schedule, on your career path. All roads to success include people. So we got to start talking to the people. And it's twofold. You want to talk to the people. I'm going to tell you why step 2. But when you talk to the people, you want to tell them who you are and what you do. I can't call on you. I can't say, hey, this would be a great opportunity for you. I can't speak your name in rooms you're not in if I don't even know you exist. And we want to believe that our boss knows what we're doing and all the people know what we're doing because we've had a conversation with them or we've delivered the results. But I can tell you, as someone who has managed teams, as someone who has been in a lot of leadership discussions with leaders who even outrank me, they don't remember. There is so much, especially nowadays, on all of our plate, that if you are not the one telling people who you are, what you do, and why they should remember you, they are not going to remember you. Now, this is not the same as networking. That's not what I'm telling you to do. Networking is exhausting and futile. You don't need to know all the people, and all the people don't need to know you. You need to know the people who are going to help you with the next step of your career. Right? Those are the people that you want to make time for. You want to be intentional about who you're making time for and who you're going out to meet, or letting them get to know you and building that relationship. Right? So not networking. You can go out and meet 1,000 people and none of them will remember your name tomorrow. And that's not the point of it, right? That's the part they forget to tell you on the internet or in social media. Your network is not your net worth. Because in order for that to take place, it means that those people have to know you. And in the grand scheme of things, you don't need that many people to know you, but you do need some key individuals to know you. You do want the leaders in your company to know you. You do want people to be able to speak your name in a room. And if you want that to happen, then you have to tell them. Right? So if you're not willing to tell me who you are and what you do, why then would I vouch for you? Like, that's how I want you to start thinking about it. If you don't believe you're the best person for the job, why would I? And so this is another reason for going out and meeting people and telling them who you are and what you do, because it instills confidence in others. In order for people to want to trust you, to follow you, to put your name, you got to show up and believe that you're the person first. Okay, step 2. So now that we've gone out in step 1 and we're meeting people, we are intentionally meeting people, right? Now, when I meet this person, I am going to, step 2, listen for possibility. Yes, listen for possibility. So often what I see is that we get caught up in, oh boy, this person either outranks me, I feel so nervous about it, or I don't know what to say to the person. And the truth is, a conversation, communication isn't for you, it's for the other person. But you can learn how to leverage that communication. And I teach all about connection and communication inside the Legendary Leadership Method at a much deeper level. But what I want you to take away from today is All you have to do is show up, get the conversation started, and just listen. People love to talk about themselves. And listen, here is a pro tip. If you ever pay attention to the white people at work, yeah, I had to think about whether or not I wanted to say that in this video. But honestly, if you ever sit and just watch the white people at work, they will tell you all the things. You just have to be willing to show up, say good morning. And we say good morning culturally, so we can say good morning to everyone we walk to work, walk into the office, right? And just ask a question. Hey, what made you get into this field? And just let them talk. And while they're talking, you're listening for possibility. We forget that part of the conversation. So what is possibility? There is so many aspects of listening that I teach, but one that I want you to focus on is, where do they have a problem? Like, where do they have a problem in that conversation? What is it that they're working on that needs a solution? What is going on in their world? And I promise, if you just let them talk, they will tell you all the things. They'll also tell you all the things about other people you might want to get to know based on what you want to do. They'll tell you what's going on in the workplace so that you're not blindsided by that reorg that's coming up. And these are all key aspects of leadership, right? Like, leaders are on top of it. They know what's going on in their environment. They know the leaders that they need to know. They're listening for opportunity because the leaders solve problems, right? So like, step one, going out and meet people, being intentional about that. Step two, when you're having conversations with them, you want to listen for possibility. And the reason why you want to do that is because possibility will lead you to step three. And in step three, it's offering to help, offering a solution. So often we've been taught to wait for them to think about us. But I want to offer you the possibility of you stepping up as a leader and offering possibility to them. Because when you offer possibility to others, you're leading, as opposed to sitting in the position of waiting for them to recognize you, waiting for them to promote you, waiting for them to match your name with an opportunity, right? The people who are getting promoted are stepping up and finding opportunity for themselves. And I'll give you an example of how this plays out with my clients. So I have a client, Felicia, and Felicia started working with me in December, or we'll say October. So between October and June, Felicia has gotten promoted. Not only has she gotten promoted, her pay has increased at least 15%. And now, instead of reporting to her boss, she reports to her boss's boss. And let me tell you the difference about how that happened. When Felicia first came to me, she said she didn't want to be a leader. And she said she didn't want to be a leader because she didn't want to deal with the people. But Felicia has an outgoing personality. And she likes people. She likes to communicate. And like most of us in the roles that we're in, we are the bridge, right? We're the person who knows the things. We're the person who has the information to solve the problems, to connect the people. And Felicia is one of these people. And so she wasn't talking to anyone at work. She liked the company that she worked for in terms of what it could offer long-term from a benefits perspective and things like that. But she didn't necessarily see opportunity there. So we were exploring whether or not she wanted to stay there or go somewhere else. So what we started to do was talk about why she didn't want to be a leader. And what we uncovered was just, we have thoughts, we as Black women have thoughts about the people. Okay, Kaya, I'm gonna answer your question in 1 second. We have thoughts about the people, and it's holding us back from moving forward, right? So because Felicia doesn't want to manage the people, she's like at a place, right? Being an individual contributor will only allow you to grow so far in your career. You can only go so far. In order to get to the upper echelons of leadership, to be an executive, you really need to, as early as possible, start to lead teams, lead other people. And you can start doing that by doing it indirectly, and then moving to managing your own team, even if it's a small team. Okay. So Felicia had a conversation with a couple people. She started to go to networking events that her company offered. She started to meet other executives, including a Black woman executive who told her to go meet with her boss's boss. And the first time that she did this, when he asked her what she wanted, she didn't have a good answer. And it was kind of like, I mean, I'm good. I don't, kind of, I mean, she had an answer, but it wasn't a good one. And he was just like, okay. And he kind of brushed her off, and she walked away not feeling good about that meeting. But here's why. What she told him was a couple things. She told him that she wasn't sure about herself, that she was unclear about what she wanted. Right? So she didn't show up and say, hey, I'm Felicia. This is what I do, and here's where I want to go. Right? Like that wasn't how she presented. And it wasn't in tune with who he is, because he's a go-getter. So about 30 to 60 days later, Felicia circled back, because Felicia had already gotten her performance review the highest possible, right? That 1%, she did do that. She got that. So she circled back with her boss's boss. But this time the conversation was just that. It was, you know what? I thought about it. Here's what I want. I want to learn more about what you do and how I can help and how I can progress my career. Now, this time the conversation was like, he was like, oh, so that's a different answer than you gave me the first time. We've been thinking about you. We've been looking at you. We see what you're doing. You see how the moment that she showed up with confidence and said what she wanted, it aligned with what they were seeing. And now they're able to do something with that. So now she reports directly to him. Oh, and by the way, that Black mentor that she had earlier in the process, that's now her new boss's boss. So now she has 2 advocates, 2 sponsors, 2 people who know that she wants to move up in her career, that she is an up and coming talent, that she wants to grow her career. But she had to say something first. She had to show up and meet people, tell them who she are, what she wanted. She had to listen for possibility, because that possibility allowed them to create a role for her. And then she had to offer to help. So in that conversation, she was like, this is what I'm really good at. And now she's the key point of contact leading an initiative for her team, or for her broader department and her broader team. Like, this is how that plays out when you really step into, okay, I'm going to be here every day, and there's no avoiding the people. So how do I leverage this environment for my good? How do I leverage the corporate workplace, or whichever environment you work in, whether that's government, healthcare, et cetera? And how do I use it for my good? How do I leverage these relationships for my good, so that when I walk into the room, I feel confident that I'm going to meet my objectives, that the people aren't going to give me such negative vibes, if you will, that they're not going to stand as roadblocks in my way. And if they do, my people will come and step up for me. Right? So that is what you want to do and why you want to do it. And so that's my goal. And I hope that you take that away and really start to implement that as you move into the workplace. Now, if you want more support, and what does more support? What do I mean by that? I mean, Next week, next Wednesday, the doors of the Legendary Leadership Method will open. And inside the Legendary Leadership Method, I teach you how to leverage corporate America. Everything from dealing with your boss. If you look behind me, you'll see some flip charts on how to manage up and what that really means and what that looks like for Black women, right? So that's one of the things that we'll cover in there. We are covering, understanding the corporate game and how we operate differently. I'm giving you the playbook that they've already have, and that's why there's such a disparity, right? I'm closing the gap between what they know and what we don't know inside the Legendary Leadership Method. I'm essentially serving as a point of place of grooming Black women to be successful in corporate America, to be able to leverage it, to move into leadership. Because I'm going to tell you, when we move into leadership, it provides you access to so many things. It provides you access to making sure that we are getting equitable opportunities, making sure that we are getting equitable money, right? Equitable visibility. It informs you of how the process is working and how to get things done in such a different way than when you're an individual contributor or when you can't get past kind of that place between where you are and the next level. And that's what I'm teaching you in the Legendary Leadership Method. And while there are videos there and trainings there, it's more than that. It's also community. I was coaching this last week, and community is so helpful in helping you see that you're not alone, helping you see that there are other Black women who have overcome where you might be in your career, and that it is possible for you to get into leadership. It is possible for you to get over six figures. It is possible for you to have whatever it is that you are designed in your career. Make no mistake about it. And right now, you don't get that because it's likely that you're the only where you sit. That you're the only Black woman either on your team, in your department, in your workplace environment, or one of very few. And it may be that you don't have a connection with the other Black women there. But the more that we can come together and share our stories, the more you will see that the playbook that I'm giving you is the playbook. And once you understand that playbook, you can then take it and leverage it. And those days where you're going home to complain to the babies, to your husband, and to your mama and them about what's going on, it'll also remove that. It'll get easier for you because you'll understand what's happening instead of feeling like you're at the effect of it. So with that, I am going to stop there. This week, I will be sending out an email to invite you to join the Legendary Leadership Method. If you have questions about it, you can put them in the Q&A, or you can also reply to my emails and ask questions. I am happy to answer them. Investing in yourself, in your experience in corporate America or your experience at work, is the most fundamental thing that you can do for yourself. It pays itself back, dividends. I'm going to even go so far to say it's priceless. And it's priceless because right now you're spending at least 40 hours of your life, of your week there. And if I had to guess, you're spending 60, 80 hours of your week, your time, your day, your life there. And so if all that the Legendary Leadership Method does is make it so your days aren't miserable, so that you aren't just stressed out about going to work, then it's worth every penny of it. And so when it goes live on Wednesday, it'll go live and it'll only be $49 a month. And I want it to be a place where Black women can come. It is accessible. So no matter where you sit, it's $49 a month. I promise. In the budget, it's $49 a month. But the return on your investment in yourself, in your leadership skills, in closing the gap between what they know and what you know, priceless. It's a game changer. Everything that I'm teaching you, I have also done myself. And I'll tell you, and I'll stop here because I'm going to answer questions. In 2020, I decided that I wanted to reach 200K in my career. And I thought that I was going to have to do that by leaving, like I was going to have to do it. But In turn, in 2021, all I really had to do was tell my leadership what I wanted. And then the mid 2020 and mid 2021, during the pandemic, so for those of you like we're going into a recession and are worried about it, you can make money, you can get promoted in any environment. Those are limiting beliefs, and don't buy into it. But when I went back to look at it to make sure I had an accurate account of things, I got a raise 4 times in that period. Not only did I get a raise, they paid me to stay during the pandemic. Like they paid me an extra bonus on top of my bonus. These are the things that's possible when you're willing to speak up for yourself, when you understand what is really available, when you understand the resources that are available. Right now, we're just not asking for it. Right now, we're saying, oh, I just want to get my foot in the door. The minute that you say you just want to do something, you've already started at a deficit. And making up that deficit is what we see in terms of the gap between what they're making and what we're making, where they are in leadership and where we are. We've got to stop telling ourselves that. Black women are deserving of everything. And Black women, in case you don't follow me on social media, if you go there, you'll see that I'll tell you, Black women are legendary leaders. Look at history. There's evidence of it every day. Stacey Abrams is a good example of a legendary leader. Right? Like, it doesn't matter what happens, she keeps going. What she's been able to do in Georgia is remarkable. Right? You are a legendary leader, no matter where you sit, no matter what you think you still need to do, you are also a legendary leader. And listen, legends and legacy require us to tap into our desire. And I know that you want to be a leader because you're here, because you're watching this, if you're watching the replay. All right, so questions. So there's a couple of questions in the Q&A that I want to answer. How do you make sure you're not doing too much? Like making sure you're not allowing the company to use you and not pay you. So this is one of the reasons for community, right? Because we can have conversations about salary, right? We can talk about, so one of my clients this week was, I think she's making in the 90s, right? As a program manager. But as a program manager doing what she's doing, it's likely that she should be making at least 125. If you start to talk to the people at work, they'll tell you how much they make. Again, the people talk if you talk to them, right? One of the ways I knew that I had a gap, the people told me more than once and more than twice. And one time they told me, someone actually bought me the whole list of our whole department. I was like, I just thought you should know. Here's the gap. Right? But what it did was open my eyes to so much. I then knew why my boss was coming for me. I knew why he didn't want me to be promoted. He could see in me at that time more than I could see in myself. And so to promote me one more level was one more, there was no gap between us. And I was a threat, and I didn't even know I was a threat. But that boss made more than $300,000. So he was playing for keeps, and I didn't even understand why it was that serious. So not doing too much. One of the videos that I recorded for the Legendary Leadership Method is how to set boundaries when you've already set a precedent. And so many of us have already set a precedent of really overworking. So now the question becomes, how do we pull that back? And I teach that in the Legendary Leadership Method on how you can do that. But to answer your question, you've got to set boundaries. And you communicate those boundaries. If those boundaries are going to impact other people, you want to communicate it and you want them to buy into it. Right? You want to say, hey, here's why I'm not doing X, and here's how you can support me. Because it's real hard for people to kind of just be mad. They're probably still gonna be mad, but in that moment, you want to get them on board with you as opposed to giving them space to react negatively to it. So when it comes to making sure you're not doing too much, if you're doing too much, if you're answering all the questions for people, if you are the go-to person, it's time for you to level up. The minute that you become the go-to person, it's time for you to level up. The longer that you stay in that role and everybody relies on you and the process relies on you, you are pigeonholing yourself into that role, and it will make it harder to get promoted. So just remember that. Then the next question is, how do you handle when, okay, so how do you handle when you do that? And I'm assuming and follow my steps and your boss talks down to you. He doesn't want to listen to what you have said. Okay. So you've shown up, you've had a conversation, you've listened to the possibility, and then you've offered a solution, but they don't want that solution. Then that's okay. It's okay. Every time we make a pitch, it's not going to be a winning pitch. What it means and what it tells me is that what he thinks is important and what you think is important isn't aligned. So you got to find the place of alignment between what you think is the solution and what matters to them. And or the ability to influence them to see why it matters to them. How is it going to benefit them to do what you propose? Right. So if as a leader, you're sitting in the space, you listen to the possibility, you've offered a solution, and we all get this. It's not like personal to you in some cases. Like, this is what I mean by community helps you see that I've been shot down a lot. I've offered a lot of, hey, life could be easier if we just do X, or we can do the right thing and it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm not sure why we're spending so much time trying not to do the right thing. We see that a lot in corporate America, right? Like, and they'll be like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Or I'll be like, this is going to be a cluster because I can see things, right? Like I can see the process 5 steps ahead. It's one of my gifts. This is good. Hey, this is going to be a cluster. No one cares. Then it's not a battle to fight. Because while you're trying to fight that battle, because your ego is like, I am right. Notice I said your ego is like, I am right. You're exhausting yourself. You're going to burn out that way. And so it means that you either, if you feel like you're in a supportive environment and it was just this thing, even though you knew it wasn't wrong, but you still feel like you have a supportive leadership, then you want to find high value solutions to provide to them. If you're in an environment where you don't have supportive leadership, these people have told you or shown you that they're not your people, then you want to find new leadership. Don't keep sitting in a place where there's no upside to this relationship. That's toxic. There's no upside to it. And all it's doing is eating away at your soul. And the longer it eats away at your soul, the longer it is for you to recover. So then you just become a zombie and you haven't walked in your purpose. You haven't done what you want. You're crushing your desire. And so if you go to my Instagram account, you'll see my latest video says, if you're crying in the parking lot, if you don't want to go to work, but you want more, you're capable of more, you want to be a leader, then what I want to encourage you to do is to move on quickly. Because the reality of it is that they don't want you to know is that no matter what you're making, you're probably not making what you're supposed to be making for the role or what your peers are making. And I can say that because if you look at the numbers, there's a gap. If Black women are making 63 cents on average to white men, then the majority of us are in a deficit. Right? So go. There has never been a better time for women, and particularly Black women, to get out here and create the careers and the leadership roles that you want. And if you made it once, you can make it again. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, because the world is a global marketplace at this point. Your ability to work remotely that's a benefit to women that the pandemic did open up. It's more companies are offering opportunities for remote workers, right? So you just have to be willing to step out on faith. You have to be willing to double down on you. You have to be willing to bet on you. And if you did it once, you can do it twice. If someone offered you 90K once, someone will offer you 90K twice. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't random. It is possible. I promise. If you're in an industry where you know that if you were to Google the average and you're not making the average, somebody out there is willing to pay you at least the average. We're not overworking, like the days of Black women overworking, because let me tell you what happens. You burn out. Black women are tired because we've been overworking, and we've been overworking with no reward. So if you want them to recognize you, you've got to start with recognizing you. And you have everything within inside of you to be confident. They have just told you that maybe you shouldn't, maybe this or maybe that, and it has you doubting yourself because we didn't know how the game was played when we went in it. All right, one more question. How do you maneuver with predominantly white women in leadership that consistently manipulate and play the victim? How do you thrive as a leader in this environment? I love it. So predominantly white women who consistently manipulate and play victim. Stop expecting them to be different. That's how they play the game. It's no different than they play the game on the internet when we see them burst out in tears. Expect it. Plan for it. You hear me talk about a lot that me and a peer who happened to be a white woman used to go at. Like there was one day where we were on the floor and she was like, I need you to do X because our executive wants X, Y, Z. And I was like, I can't do it. I said it nicely. Well, at least not right now. That same executive gave me deliverable. And she was livid because the audacity of me to say no. I wasn't not willing to not do it. I just couldn't do it in the time frame she gave me. My boundary said, no, I'm not going to drop everything I have so that you can meet your deliverable, but then I would miss mine. There's no version of that that's an upside for me. And we got into pretty loud conversation on the floor. So I'm telling you that to say, they are going to be who they are. That goes for everyone. Pay attention to what they're doing versus what they're saying. And allow for that. Know that they're going to do it and come prepared. I also know that that same peer is someone who would throw me under the bus in a meeting. I live in the South, right? So I live in North Carolina. So we have Southern Belles here. She was born and raised. She's going to be sweet. The people love her. So if we go into a meeting, she's going to tell all the people all the things. She's going to be warm and fuzzy. But if the meeting gets tight, if things start to go left, I know for a fact she would throw me under the bus. For a fact. But today, well, I would consider her like a friend. I mean, not like close friend, but like a friend. Because I understand that that's who she is. She's the type of person that's going to throw me under the bus, and I'm going to be her scapegoat. So I'm going to show up to the meeting prepared for her too, but I've gotten my situation in order. Whatever the question is, I likely know the answer anyway. It gives me the opportunity to show up as a leader and to shine. Where is the gap between what they're doing, why they're playing victim, and you leading? This is another reason why you also want to go out and meet people and get people in your corner. They're less willing to show out like that when you have the right people in your corner. And that's possible for white people and even white women. Right now, it's you against them, or I'm gonna guess it's you against all of them. And there's just no way to move when you're in it alone, because they're having conversations with each other. They're networking with each other, if you will, for lack of a better word to use, right? They are making the time. One thing white women do is make the time to go meet with people. That peer I was talking about, she taught me that. she would say, oh, I'm so busy. And I'd be like, where are you off to? Oh, I'm off to see the chief compliance officer. And then the chief compliance officer is going to go tell her to meet with all the people on his team, all his executives. So now she's not only met him, but she's met all the executives, and they all know that she's ready to be promoted. They're making time to go meet the people, tell them who they are, what they do, offer to help, let them know that they are ready for the next move, give context to their background, see what's available that's not even posted yet. Again, this is what I'm trying to teach you guys inside the Legendary Leadership Method, because this is how they're playing the game. That's why when roles are posted, it's typically already decided. And if a role that's promotion-like isn't already decided, it probably means it's some heavy lifting to do. And we end up in those roles, but we also end up exhausted. Renee, you said that happened to you on Wednesday, and she called you in the office. And to give me a little bit more context, which part of what I said happened to you? Did she threw you under the bus in the meeting, or she tried to blame you? All right, well, Renee is typing, if you will. Any other questions? I know we're almost at the top of the hour. I'm happy to answer any additional questions. All right. So, as a takeaway, step one, go talk to the people. You are talking to the people, whether you realize it or not. So either you're saying nothing and you're letting them decide what they think about you, which is detrimental to you in all regards. So go talk to the people. Stop waiting for the people to talk to you. Stop waiting for the people to recognize you. Be proactive. And that's whether you want to be a leader who's leading teams or not. If you want your career to grow, if you want to progress, which you do, if you're honest with yourself, go talk to the people. They don't have to be your friend, and you don't have to like them to go talk to them. Those are not prerequisites for having conversations with people, for working with people. It's not. I know we want it to be. I know culturally, that's kind of how we move, but that is not how the system, how corporate America works. In most cases, they don't like each other. But they understand that in order to get things done, in order to get where they need to go talk to the people. Listen for opportunity. Listen to what people are telling you. Listen to what people are not telling you. And then offer them possibility. And when I say offer possibility, one last caveat I want to give you is don't tell people your whole idea. Give them the high-level version. You know, it would be great if you did X. We're not going to tell them how to do X. We're going to tell them what they could do. Because if they knew that they could do that, they would have thought of it themselves. So that means they certainly don't know how. And that's how you pitch. You're the best person for it. Okay? This week, you'll get an email from me, again, inviting you to join the Legendary Leadership Method. If you have any questions between now and then, if you want to know more about what I do or how I can help you, feel free to reach out. You can email me at anita@sisyouareworthy.com, or you can DM me at Confident Women Lead on any of the social media platforms. You guys have a beautiful, or you ladies rather, have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday and enjoy the rest of your weekend.